And there is also another thing that has been very horrible is feeling guilty. Because now, as you started by saying that at times you don't know the value of someone until you lose the person. So much later, I would begin to feel guilty, like, was there something else that I should have done? Did she really understand when I was telling her I loved her? Did she really understand how deep I meant it? There are a few things here and there you feel, I don't think I communicated it the way I would right now.
If I lean towards that perspective, then I live in anxiety of, well, I don't know, maybe I've already completed my purpose. I could die any minute now. Now, to protect myself, I feel like I want to lean towards she was sick, so that if I'm healthy, then I have peace of mind. And so now, not knowing has been a struggle for me. I feel like if maybe we would have checked and she was okay, confirmed she was okay, then I would not struggle with feeling like I'm always a minute closer to dying,
I have a choice to choose whether the better days are in the past or they're in the future. So as much as we want to mourn the past, we must know that the future is here and it's waiting for you to make a decision right now.
Grief is like a hole that you're gonna keep falling into, but as time goes by, that hole shrinks, and one day you're not gonna fall into that hole. I was like, that is powerful. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on a new episode of Broken But Not Destroyed podcast. If you're new here, you are so welcome. My name is Rosetta Paul. You can call me Rosetta anytime. And together with me, my co-host.
This is Apostle Paul.
Amazing. And today's conversation, we're going to be talking about the silent language of grief. So if you're a person that has been feeling confused after experiencing any form of loss, you're not understanding the physical, emotional, and spiritual impact that's happening on you, this video is going to shed light into everything that you're going through, and you're going to help you understand some of the ways in which you can cope with those languages of grief. Sometimes grief is always communicating to you, and if you're not aware of its language, you might confuse it for either you're sick or you're not okay, but at the end of the day, you're just experiencing grief. So this video is going to help you understand grief and know how to cope with it. And just to get us started, I would love to understand what your definition of grief is.
Wow. I think for me, it's now exactly 1 year and a half since I lost one of the best things to ever happen in my life, Pastor Grace. And what I can say, for me, grief has been an overwhelming sense of loss. You have lost in a way that is so overwhelming that makes you feel helpless. You have overwhelming sense of sadness. You feel like you have lost purpose. You have lost energy. You feel like you've been betrayed, like God has kind of just betrayed you and snatched the very, very best source of your strength, as far as humanly speaking is concerned. And then you just have that emotional grief and unending turmoil where you're just so conflicted within yourself that you are just in a strange world. It's a pain that is not like pain. It's like a confusion. From what I've experienced, it is just, that is what I would say grief is. To me, it means so many things because of its impact. Yeah.
There's a quote over here that I find very interesting. It says, grief doesn't always wear a black dress and weep openly. Sometimes it whispers in our bodies, whispers in our thoughts, whispers in our souls. So that basically entails everything that you have said. It's so much. It can't be defined in one statement, cannot be explained. It's mostly felt. And so at the end of the day, my understanding of grief is a sense of emptiness, a gap that you're feeling within you, that makes you remember or understand the place that you had put this person at. Like they always say, you never know what you have until you've lost it. And so grief for me is that it's a reminder of what you've lost, a gap that you're feeling constantly, and just some sort of emptiness. And that's how I feel like my experience with grief would make me define what grief is exactly. And there's so many ways in which grief is experienced. So maybe we can begin by understanding what are some of those ways that you have experienced grief and its language to you, basically.
One of the top languages of my grief is loneliness. Pastor Grace was like a very, very important source of direction, strength, happiness to me. And now without her, I have been having this emotional distress that has led me to having like an ending sadness. Of course, it's a bit difficult because of the nature of my work. So I cannot be expressing sadness continually because I go to work. I've got to take care of things here and there. But that is one of the things. There has been loneliness where I just feel, because of the kind of loss that I've experienced, I've lost a great companionship. And therefore, because my social life was really centered around her, most of our friends, they actually came through her because I was kind of not very social in terms of talking to people. I had to be intentional much later in our years, but most of those friends had come because of her input. So there has been that loneliness. And another thing that has really been horrible is the loss of purpose. Like we had a project that we were working on, and I remember after that loss, I decided I will not continue with the project. And I struggled with that idea for several months until much later when God helped me to see that, hey, you still have your girls with you, so you can still work on the project. And now I shifted the strength from Pastor Grace, and I started thinking about you to help me recover a sense of purpose. So there are so many. So there's the loneliness, there is the loss of purpose, and there is also another thing that has been very horrible is feeling guilty. Because now, as you started by saying that at times you don't know the value of someone until you lose the person. So much later, I would begin to feel guilty. Like, was there something else that I should have done? You know, did she really understand when I was telling her I loved her, did she really understand how deep I meant it? You know, there are a few things here and there you feel, I don't think I communicated it the way I would right now if I was given a week with her. There are words that I can say, there are things that I can do, and especially affirm her, so that she can know how valuable she was. But it doesn't mean I didn't do it. But it's only that now that she has left, that depth of loss kind of makes me wonder, is she happy where she is? And did she really understand that I really loved her and I'm missing her and I need to kind of like have a chat with her and so forth? Yeah. So I remember I even attempted to call her several times after we buried her, because kind of I was struggling to believe that she's gone.
Wow. Basically, sounds like it's been a roller coaster. It's been emotional. It has had physical impact, spiritual impact. So perhaps we could be able to go systematically and begin with the emotional impact of grief. You have mentioned about feeling some sense of guilt. How has that been for you? What do you think has brought about that?
You kind of suddenly realize that you didn't really appreciate the person as much as you should have, or you feel like you didn't love the person enough as you did.
Yeah.
Like for me, it has been like I should have done more. I know that many people, they considered our marriage a role model, and that is true. I had the happiest marriage. She also confessed and said it, even it's on record, that she was so happy with me. But now that as she is gone, that sense of guilt just comes. And especially like now that I have a lot of time to think, I realize there's something I didn't know that I now know because of the kind of loneliness I've gone through. So there is that sense of guilt that you feel because of some things that you did. You felt like, I feel like I did substandard, that I would have done better and better. So I think that is where the sense of guilt is. And then at times I wonder whether I overworked her, because in my family is like she was the engine that was driving a lot of things. And I feel, did I really leave everything to her? She must have been overworking. She must have been tired, kind of those. So those are the things that are generating that feeling of guilt.
If I have experienced guilt, I don't think I've experienced it.
Okay.
Maybe just feeling like I could have done more. I could have loved her physically. Like hugged her more, told her more that I love her. Because, one thing about her, she was not very expressive.
Yes.
Saying I love you, hugging, she was not like that kind of person. But I remember when she traveled back to Kenya from Portland, there was a day I was talking to her on video call. I had gone to visit my friend Rose. She lives in Vancouver. So I drove to Vancouver, and then I had a sleepover at her place. That morning, I called her to show her the house of Rose, because I was like, hey, Rose lives in a very beautiful house. You need to see it. We're going to get something like this someday. And so when I finished talking to her, Rose joined, and they also talked a few minutes. And then we just ended the call like, okay, bye. Then Rose told me, how have you not told her that you love her? Call her back and tell her you love her. So I called her back and I said, I love you. And then from then onwards, every call that I had with her, we used to end with "I love you," and she used to say it back.
Wow.
Until the last call that we had that Sunday morning. We talked. I was going, I think I was going to Northeast or something. So I was giving her a report of how my day was. And then we ended the call and I told her, "I love you." And then she also says, I love you and God loves you too. That was the last call we had with her.
Okay.
So immediately after we got the news and I saw Rose coming to hug me, the first thing I said to her was, "Thank you for reminding me to always say that to her."
Wow.
Because I feel like I would have really regretted more if Rose had not pushed me to always say that to her. But I feel like I could have started that culture earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, so if there's anything, it could have been in my way of expressing to her my love. Yeah.
Makes sense. You know, one of the funny, foolish things that I did and she did was when she left me in Portland because of the duration that she was to come to Kenya for about 4 months, and then she was to go back to the US. And we have never been separated that long. It was our first time in our 28-year marriage. So we thought that to make it easier for one another to survive was to not express any romantic anything. No saying, "I love you, I miss you," and all that and all that. We just like we would just be provoking each other's emotions, and we are far away from each other. So I really find that very foolish today, because she went all the way without me saying exactly how I was feeling for her. And when now she passed on, that really hit me. It really hit me because, especially me, because I'm very expressive, while she was not. So I really felt very bad, and it made me guilty. Feel guilty, and I was saying, "No, I should have been telling her how I was missing her, how I wanted to joke with her, do the talks that grown-ups talk." I felt I should have done that. But unfortunately, for some reason, we thought it would only destabilize and make it difficult for one another. So that's another thing that really made me feel guilty. But now, one of the things I'm sure about, which you must have experienced, maybe you can tell us, is the overwhelming sense of loneliness, that you're now alone. And I remember you saying from there, you even felt like you should not even think about getting married because you don't want somebody else to feel the pain, all that. I believe that is born out of the sense of loneliness and the pain.
Definitely I've experienced that, because we were very close. We used to talk a lot for hours, especially when she traveled back to Kenya. We would talk for an hour, video calls. I'd show her what we've bought, like if we've gone to Burlington or we've gone shopping at Ross. I just do like a quick shopping haul, show her everything we've bought. So we used to talk so much. Especially at night at Portland time. And so feeling suddenly that you can't talk to this person, you can't access them, it brought that feeling of, who am I going to talk to? The things we used to talk to, because I used to tell her everything. Like, I feel like there is nothing I didn't tell her, whether it was relationship-wise, whether it was struggles, whatever it is. I think she was the one person I was telling everything. So not having her to tell those things made me feel like I have so much to tell, but I don't know who to say these things to. So that really made me feel lonely and made me feel alone, both of those. And that was a struggle until now Pastor Mary came in and we started talking. I fully accepted to talk to her as if she's mom, because I remember the last few weeks, mom really insisted that I need to be friends with Pastor Mary. It was so strange. She was like, you need to open up to her. You need to be friends with her. Feel free around her. She's a mother. Just open your heart,
Yeah.
So when I remembered that, I said, you know what, I'm going to take her counsel. Maybe this is the reason. And so I started talking to her, but still it can't compare to talking to her directly.
Exactly. Yeah. I think for me, that loss of companionship has really hit me very hard.
Yeah.
Because I'm still growing in the sense of, developing friendships and all that. And now she was like always, I really took her to be very smart.
Yeah.
I took her to be smarter than myself and wiser than myself. Like I really celebrated her life smart knowledge. She knew so much, and whatever I did, I loved it when it went through her, because that way kind of I felt secure and I felt I was very sure, especially after making some silly mistakes, which I made for not consulting her. And therefore losing her for me was a very, very, very big thing. Feeling just so lonely, so alone in the world. And that is when I started remembering years ago when she had told me that she was going to die before me. And she gave me some specific advices, like, and one of them was I should not take long before I marry. And now that she's gone 1.5 years and I'm yet to get married, I have been asking myself, what was that she knew about me that I didn't know myself? And I've really been seeing she had known that I'm very, very loving, and I work better in an environment where my love is reciprocated. And now that I'm not there yet, the struggle with loneliness has been so huge. And that's why I say, I think she knew me more than I knew myself. But I am hanging in there, and I thank God for the support system, because one of the ways I've been trying to overcome that is being dependent on the kind of support system that God has given me. I have people, I cannot mention their names here, who have been very, very persistent. Some calling for me for dinner, some making calls and making time for me. Others, they are there to pray for me, to encourage me, and to assure me that it's going to be fine. So that, I think loneliness is a really big deal. It's probably, for me, I think that is the worst experience for me. It's the worst language of my grief.
Okay. And loneliness is also triggered by the memories that you have shared. Now, I'm curious to understand, are there any recurring memories that have troubled you, something you keep thinking about in terms of a memory? And those intrusive memories.
Yes, I have so many. I have one of them was how I promised her. I was 45 years that time, and I was telling her that she has been so good to me. She has paid a huge sacrifice, being married to an apostle who is out there planting churches and, kind of at times elevating the ministry at the expense of the family. And she never argued with me. She never was in opposition to all the sacrifices I demanded from the family for the ministry to go on. And then I decided that I was gonna build her a mansion that was going to be like my reward for her patience, for her love. And then she passed on before I was done building that mansion, which I really wanted her to just enjoy and feel loved, feel appreciated for the sacrifices that she had made to train me, to counsel me, to pray for me. she was one of the most prayerful person as far as I was concerned. She would pray for me more than she prayed for herself. So with that said, that memory that she left before I was able to gift her with one of the top things that I really held very close. That thing really beat me down. And every time I remember that she went without getting into that house, I kind of feel very, very bad. And then there is also the memory of the many things we talked about, you and Gloria with her, about your marriages, about your graduations and masters and Gloria and all that. You know, all those things we talked about, grandchildren, and how, you know, how motherly she was, and I would imagine how the grandchildren would be so happy around her. And now she's not there. It's a memory that kind of touches me every now and then. And of course, there is the memory of the ministry, where I go and I go to missions and I'm alone. And when I'm there, she was my top cheerer. When I was preaching, she would shout, "Amen," and all that and all that. And that would really, people have no idea, but I was drawing a lot of joy and strength from her cheers. So I'm ministering to people who are just quiet. And I just missed that voice, that one voice that would make me feel God is with me, that would make me strong. So I have 1,001 memories that I have. At times after this service, I minister, I'm all sweaty and all that. And I remember how she would take me to the office and then she would say, "Dad, just go home. I'll handle the rest." And she would listen to people, pray with the people. And she would say, "The food is ready. Go make sure you shower first." Now I don't have anyone who is there. So these things, they are memories that really trigger that loneliness. Just to mention but a few.
Yeah, I've also had memories that come often. But I feel like the one that's always on my mind often is our journey to Portland. I remember when we got to, I think we had just gotten to London Heathrow, and she told me, "I feel like I'm escorting you to America. Like, this is the reason why we had to come together." Because you remember the initial plan was for her to go by herself. And then somehow we ended up traveling together. And so we were at Portland. We were having some poached eggs. And she just told me, "I feel like I'm escorting you to America. Like, my purpose was just to help you go through the airport and whatnot." Because she's very bold. She was very unafraid. Unlike me, as of that time, I was very timid, very shy. And so she just said, "I feel like I needed to be here with you to help you maneuver your way through London Heathrow." And then we got to Portland, and she told me, "I've really done my part in bringing you to America." And every time I keep remembering that, I wonder what made her say that, you know. So that has been a core memory for me. Remembering even how I would follow her through the terminals and everything, how she would ask, "How do we get to this point and that point?" Yeah, so that one has been very core. And another memory has always been the fact that she wanted me to get married after I turned 30. Every time, even I think of getting married before 30, I feel like I'm going against her advice. And so at this point, I'm like, I'm very contented being single. And so I also get to think, why did she say that? But as time goes by, I understand where she would have been coming from, because right now I'm turning 29 in a few days, and now I have a better understanding of relationships. I have a better understanding of myself as a person, as a woman. And so now that she really insisted you'll get married after 30. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually very excited to get married after 30, whether it's 30, 32, whatever it's going to be. Like, that memory just keeps me focused on continuing to grow myself and to also focus on developing myself as a person, financially, emotionally, spiritually. She was huge on get your own money before you get married. So that has also kept me going. And every time I remind myself, you know what, I need to keep focusing on myself. She must have had a reason why she really insisted on that. So yeah, mostly it's my memories are around advices she gave, warnings she gave, and her counsel. Yeah,
especially I think also another language of grief is celebrating the strengths of the deceased, because I have been able, grief highlights those strengths in ways that you were not seeing when the person was alive. Like for me, I see her strength so much, and I celebrate. For example, the way she was so organized. She was extremely very organized, and she did not want any shoddy work. And she enjoyed when things were very orderly and all that. And every time I'm disorganized in the bedroom, I imagine her coming and rebuking me and, telling me, hey, set up things up. And I remember I used to just leave the bed undone and all that. And I remember during her time, whoever came out of bed later was the one that was going to make the bed, and I used to make sure I come out first so that she is the one who does it. But now that whatever time I wake up, I'm the one. I remember the strength, her consistency in doing things, her consistency in deciding what meals that are to be made. So that has been another element of me. I've been really celebrating her strength. And actually, if somebody's listening to us and you're married, I would really encourage, highlight on the strength of your spouse. Speak about them and don't over focus on the weaknesses or the lack of whatever thing you don't have. Because when that person, God forbid, that leaves you behind, especially as young as I am, because I don't consider myself old yet, I think it really, really hurts. So I don't know whether there is something you've been really celebrating that was your mom.
When you've talked about organization, I think I've looked at it from the point of how was she able to do so much in the house, and I've looked at it on the positive and the negative. On the positive, in the sense of how was she able to do all this by herself. I mean, she would cook, do cleaning, make sure the house is clean, everybody is fed and whatnot. And then I thought it in the sense of, why did I let her do everything, especially when I was around? And it may also have triggered some guilt to some extent. But then again, it has also had a negative effect on me, because sometimes I'm so overwhelmed and I think to myself, is this how she was overwhelmed, And I didn't do nothing, or we couldn't tell. She always used to say a woman is not supposed to get tired, regardless of having a long day. Like, she'd have a long day, get at home and still go to cook. And I'd ask her, how are you able to do that? And she said, sasa nikichoka, tutafanya nini, And it's both positive and negative. And I feel like sometimes it makes me feel like, you know what, maybe just being by yourself is so much better, because after a long day, you don't want to have to explain how exhausted you are, But then again, I look at it from the point of, if she was able to do that, then I guess it's doable. And she always told me, as a mother, you can't just let go of everything just because you're tired, which I think was a strength on her part. And I remember telling her, I'm not a mother, so I don't understand what you mean. And she would tell me, I would tell her, that's grace that's coming with motherhood, so I don't understand what you mean.
Okay.
And she just look at me and laugh and say, okay, now I understand, because that's the point. I mean, trying to fill her gap. And I think that's just interesting how she was able to coordinate everything, coordinate her business, coordinate the family,
the ministry.
Yes. Also, like, it was so much. Sometimes I feel like maybe I could have done something to make her load easier.
Yeah, I think that is how grief really works, because also on my side, I have really at times been feeling I have so much I want to talk with her. But when she was there, she would even ask me she would say, talk to me. And I would say, I have nothing to say. And now that she's not there, I have so much that I want to share with her, and it is not there. But I think it's a process that now kind of being challenged in my next relationship. I must be a better communicator. I must be ready to talk out things correctly, listen, and be a helper, not just, you are so busy with your work that when you come home, you don't want to do anything. So I feel like I've learned something.
Yeah.
But also there is maybe, because this is an ending, kind of a story, there is also the language, another language, silent language of grief, is the change in sleeping patterns. And for me, I've really struggled. I've really been, just spent so many uncountable days on melatonin to be able to sleep because of my sleeping habit. It was like she was the medicine I needed to be able to sleep, because I so loved her. I always would sleep holding her, and I would sleep so fast. So nowadays I'm holding a pillow, so I can go all the way up to 4, at times at 2. And at times I've got to rely on the melatonin. So that's the sleep pattern. And I realize nowadays I sleep 2 hours or 3 hours, I'm okay. But those days I would sleep, know that. So I don't know about you.
Yeah, so those are like physical impacts of grief. And my sleep has also been affected. At first, it was just because of all the sadness and the loneliness. And then I used to dream with her so much. So I used to struggle to fall asleep. And once I fall asleep, I always dreamt with her until it got to a point now I stopped dreaming with her. And then I started now struggling with sleeping because of anxiety and panic attacks. And I think that's something I'm still working on right now. I still don't look forward to nights. I feel more at peace when I know it's like 4 a.m., it's 5 a.m., so I know the morning is coming. I can be able to now sleep well. Yeah, so my sleep has also been affected. And mostly just because of anxiety. And I don't know if there's anything like sleep anxiety where you're anxious about going to sleep. I don't know, maybe I'll research about it. But yeah, that has really affected my sleep. And sometimes it comes in the sense of I'm sleepy, but I'm thinking about her. So I find myself leaning more towards thinking about her, watching her videos, and I'm so glad I have videos of her, listening to voice notes, her voice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe we are going to overcome this with the time, and as we continue focusing on our specific assignment.
Yeah.
But I also think another one that has been really loud to me is lack of energy. Like I would go to the office Monday to Sunday, and I would be spending the whole day reading, writing, praying. And right now, that's a mountain.
Yeah.
At times I wake up and I say, today I'm going to do this. And within the first 10 minutes, I'm already tired. There is no juice. There is no strength in me.
Yeah.
So have you also experienced the lack of energy to do things?
I feel like if it's been there, I've not noticed it. I don't think I've experienced that lack of motivation, lack of energy. I just struggled with not wanting to do anything. Intentionally, I don't want to do anything. Yeah, but not from the sense of not having the motivation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm talking about, where you know you should do something, but like you can't do it another time or another day. You
procrastinate.
You procrastinate. And like if there were trophies to be offered for watching Netflix and TikTok, the last 1.5 years, I would have gotten a medal.
Should become like a director at Netflix and give them reviews of good movies.
If they were paying for watching many hours. And like for me, with my passion for the Korea historical dramas, the ones that you go to read, so that your whole mind is concentrated. That is what has really kept my hours going on and on. But I think with the time, it has it's, just transitioning little by little. It's not as I was last year. And I just believe that this also will pass. And the energy, the zest for life is going to be there.
Now, is there something that do you have any regrets towards something you could have done after her passing, in the sense of autopsies and stuff? Because I feel like that's one other thing that I've been struggling with, especially when somebody asks me what happened, and I have no answer, because we just have to say that we don't know,
Okay.
I don't know if you've struggled with that.
For me, I have not struggled with issues to do with autopsy, because one of the things that I have really been turned down or toned down by communities is that God cannot take someone. And people want to convince the world that a disease has to take you, or the devil has to take you. And as a result, many people do not believe that God can just take your life. They want to give credit to heart attack or to a clot or to, any other thing. And that's why when somebody passes on, the first thing that people are preoccupied with is, was she sick? What they want to first of all identify what killed the person. And very few people will say God took him. That one is normally said during the burial that the Lord has taken, but it is said in passing. So one of those days before I really accepted that she was gone, I really wrestled with God in prayer, because I wanted to know why she could not have lived as long as I wanted. And when the Lord was just interacting with me and assured me that people are alive because there is a purpose that they need to fulfill for God. And once you fulfill the purpose, when you are right, especially for the righteous, then you will pass on. And there are scriptures that confirms somebody like Simeon in the book of Luke chapter 2. He was told that you cannot die until you see the Messiah. And when he saw the Messiah, the Bible says he made a prayer. He said, now I have fulfilled what I was supposed to fulfill. And he said he was ready to die. And he died. And again, Apostle Paul, after fighting the fight of faith and all that, he said, now he's ready. So according to God, when you fulfill your purpose, then you can die. So for me, when I was praying and the Lord revealed to me that Pastor Grace has accomplished the purpose for which she had been given to my life, and God showed me all that she has done, I realized she has fulfilled her purpose. And God explained to me, long life with him is not numbers. It is how long you take to fulfill the purpose that he has got for you. So me, I don't struggle with the autopsy, and especially because of the honor with which she passed on after spending the whole day in prayer and preparing for the crossover service, praying and laying her hands on the seats in the church, and then prostrating before God. I think that's a very honorable way of departing from here. And I would not want to credit any disease because she wasn't sick. I would not want to give credit to any disease, taking that woman of God. Yeah, so I have not really struggled with the autopsy and all that. I chose to just believe what God ministered to my heart. Yeah.
That's interesting, and it's understandable. It makes sense. I feel maybe for me, humanly speaking, if I lean towards that perspective, then I live in anxiety of, well, I don't know, maybe I've already completed my purpose. I could die any minute now. Now, to protect myself, I feel like I want to lean towards she was sick, so that if I'm healthy, then I have peace of mind. And so now, not knowing has been a struggle for me. I feel like if maybe we would have checked and she was okay, confirmed she was okay, then I would not struggle with feeling like I'm always a minute closer to dying,
Okay.
Yeah, so it's been a struggle, and yeah.
Well, I trust that God is going to help you overcome that, because be it as it may, when somebody is dying, definitely there is what organ did what. So if you are relying on science will give you an answer, because science attempts to answer everything. So as a believer, I would like to remain as a believer even in my hardest time. If she was sick, I would have definitely said that she was unwell, the way people say that she has been in and out of the hospital and so forth and so forth. And then we were talking with her. She would have told me she was unwell, and I would have done what I used to do the years that she used to be sickly. So for me, I think I choose to just believe that God took her. And that, for me, it has given me more peace, because in the process of thinking, I remember there's some people who were trying to, say there's witchcraft involved and all that. And now just discredit that, because what is that demon that is so powerful that can ignore my authority and her prophetic authority to come and take her? So it is not the devil. It is not witchcraft. And therefore, if it is sickness and all that, I also would lighten what sickness is that. And we have this covenant of long life. So that is my take.
So what are some of the ways in which you've been coping with those silent languages of grief?
Okay. One of the things that I've been doing, is just I've really been generating a lot of hope, and I've also kind of convinced myself that there's nothing I can do to change what has happened. I have accepted my powerlessness in reversing what has happened. And having accepted that, I have now been working how better can I make my life now without her? And that has really made me to be more loving to you and Gloria. It has made me to appreciate every single moment I have with my children. I now kind of appreciate people more. Like, I feel I can still draw some strength from the lives that I'm touching. So that way I'm feeling like I am of value, because most of the things I used to do was like I wanted her happy. And that's how the Bible says that he who is married seeks to please his wife or his husband. So now that she's not there, I want to impact more people. And every time I do something and somebody appreciates, either in form of a testimony or acknowledgement or anything, it really makes me want to do more. That's one of the ways I've been trying to cope up. And at the same time, I made a decision that I want to live an honorable life, so that if she is looking at me from heaven, because the Bible shows that where they are, they remember what is on earth. Like the way the rich man was telling Abraham that he has 5 brothers and they're down there and they need to change their ways. So I imagine she's there with God and she's looking at me, and I kind of decided I want to make her proud. I want to make her proud by the way I take care of you, how I still am able to move on with the ministry, and even in my decision to remarry and so forth. I want to make her proud. Yeah.
Amazing. I have the same way of coping, the sense of whatever she taught me, I hold it closer to my heart. And if it's something practical, I do it. For example, dressing, she was huge on modesty, huge on looking good, huge on how you present yourself, whether it's an organization, I'm working on it, whatever it is that entailed her personality, I try to take it up as my own. And I find sometimes I do something and somebody will just make a comment and say, that's exactly what mom would do. That's exactly how she would say it. That's exactly what she would do. And sometimes somebody will even tell me, you have just walked like mom. And I'm thinking, wow, okay. I posted a status on my WhatsApp the other day, and somebody from Tanzania viewed it and told me, I think my heart sank when I saw this. I thought it was mom. You look so much alike. And I'm like, yeah, I know we look so much alike. And yeah, so I feel like not just looking like her, but even behaving like her, how she raised me to be like the woman that I am. I'm holding it closer to my heart now, going for it, doing it. The compassion that she had, I've taken it up as well. And that in a way has comforted me and has made me feel like I'm honoring her in my life as her daughter. Yeah. And also, I've also been coping through self-care. She was also huge in taking a break whenever you need it, especially the final months. She was huge on no pressure. You can take a break. You need to rest. You get some rest. You don't have to wash the dishes if you're exhausted. They're not going anywhere. Take a break, And I feel like just taking care of myself when I'm feeling like I don't have the strength to do something has also helped me, whether it's going for shopping. I remember she was extravagant, but also very budget conscious. I don't know how she used to do that. Because at some point she came to visit me while I was living in Nairobi, and we went for shopping at Dubois, and she was shopping everything, and I'm like, Mom, you need to save money. And she was like, no, love yourself, you need it, buy it, So I do the same thing, and I feel like it actually helps me cope with missing her and also with the grief. So if I need to go buy a new wig, I mean, I'm going to buy it. Yeah, so
Great.
it has helped me to some extent.
Great. I think you're doing good in that instance, but I've also been keeping myself busy.
Yeah.
Has also been helping me. I love it, especially when I'm busy.
Yeah.
When I have engagement, I have a podcast, I have an appointment, I have a mission, I'm traveling. I feel good, like I feel like days are going. So I'm hoping as they go forward, the pain will keep decreasing the more the days.
Yeah.
So when I'm busy, I really feel very okay.
Yeah.
And then I've also been with people who are the support system has been helping me. I have some friends who invite me over for lunches, or some just tell me, "Hey, Apostle, I just wanted to know how you're doing." And those calls, they may not know, but it really means a lot when somebody calls me and says, "Apostle, I'm praying for you. I know you're going to make it. You're going to come out. How are the girls?" And when people ask me about you, I feel so good. Then some people say, "We are following you. We are so rooting for you. We are cheering for you. Hang in there. It's going to be good." Those words, they really mean a lot. Yeah. So that's another way that has made it easy for me to be able to move on.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You said, as when you're busy, you feel like as days goes by, the pain is going to get lesser and lesser. And I've just remembered a definition of grief that I saw online. And it was saying that grief is like a hole that you're going to keep falling into. But as time goes by, that hole shrinks. And one day, you're not going to fall into that hole. I was like, that is powerful.
That's powerful. Makes sense. Makes sense. It's only for me, I did not think I would still be in this level of grief after 1.5 years. Like I thought it would be shorter, but now that we have done this, I feel I'm not verified. It's like I've made very few strides. But recently I was talking to some of those friends I'm talking about who's really been following up, and they were telling me, "Apostle, don't you worry. I know one of the things, it will be easier if you get married. It will be easier when you have somebody else, because some of the things that you go through in loneliness and loss of companionship, now you can have somebody else. You can be venting your fears to, your joy, your whatever. But right now, if I don't share with you, you realize there are things I just have got to stay with them." And that is something that I really find interesting about how to cope with grief. And then the surprise in all this is that there is very little information out there that addresses widowers. There are a lot, they are talking about widows, the women, but the men, I'm telling you, we are traveling a path that probably is less traveled. And therefore, I am just banking on God to be able to make it better. So I'm really working on just moving on by all means, whatever it takes. And as you have said, when I feel I have no energy to do anything, I just decide, okay, I will not force myself. That's another way that I've found within myself to be able to overcome the grief is I will not force myself. If, for example, I don't feel like praying, I know I have taught people to force themselves to pray, but as far as grief is concerned, you cannot force yourself because you try it, and it's one of the hardest things. I love reading books. At times I get a good book and I want to read, and before a page is over, I just don't have the energy. So I decided, okay, I'll do what I like. I'm a movie person. I'll just watch movies and trust that this is also going to pass.
It shall.
Yes.
It will. So
Yeah.
basically, at the end of the day, I hear you saying you're embracing the future, looking forward to better days ahead, which is something that I'm also doing, because I feel like, well, I would love to dwell in the past. I would love to sit indoors all day and watch our vlogs together, watch videos together, look at her photos. But it's going to be much better if I look to the future, so that I can also be able to leave a legacy like the one she left. Yeah, and when you said it's upon us to choose whether better days are ahead, I think that was also liberating, and it has helped me now look forward to the future.
Oh, great. Yeah, I actually appreciate, I don't know how people who are not born again handle grief, but that it's this hard for us. I can only imagine how hard it is for people whose faith is not in God. It must be worse. Yeah. But I have also remembered one other thing that I keep doing when I miss her very much. You listen to the videos. I've also done that, but I also go through. I reminisce. I like to remember the many wonderful times that I spent with her. And I also love talking about her. I really feel good when I talk about her. I talk about some of the smartest things that she has helped me, be able to do. Like today, I was talking with a friend, and I was telling him that the result of the many churches I planted in Tanzania was because of her advice, because I ignored 3 opportunities to be a lecturer, to go and pursue my master's, or to be a pastor of about 100 members. That was just being offered. And when I came to her, and because I told her that ministered to me to go to Tanzania, she told me one thing. She said, if you are not going to obey God, then let's part ways, because I'm not ready to suffer because of your disobedience. And that is what gave me the courage to obey what the Lord had put in mind. So when I talk about some of the exploits that she was able to be involved as far as my life is concerned, I just feel like celebrate this woman. I celebrate what God has done through her in my life. So celebrating her appears also to be a nice way for me to cope up with my loss.
Yeah, that's amazing. It helps to honor their memory. It also helps me when I honor her memory, her teachings, her lessons, her rebukes. Yeah, so basically we are honoring the past, and that helps. I think it helps everybody when you honor the teachings, the rebukes, discipline she taught us, Yeah, so I think that's all I can say for this episode on the silent language of grief, unless maybe you have a final remark.
Yeah, I would really encourage people who are grieving that to just know that when you begin to accept what you are going through as something that is beyond your power and something that you cannot correct, you can only be the one to deal with yourself. I think that would be very, very helpful. And like God ministered to me in one of those prayer moments I was praying, and the Lord put it in my heart that I have a choice to choose whether the better days are in the past or they're in the future. So as much as we want to mourn the past, we must know that the future is here and it's waiting for you to make a decision right now. So I'll tell you, just hang in there. Don't die with the dead. Just hang in there, live your life, fulfill your purpose, and let God be glorified. Remember, the one that has died has joined the cloud of witnesses and is cheering you on.
Powerful, powerful. So I hope this episode has comforted you, and I hope it has helped you navigate the complexities of grief and find strength to heal. And just to conclude, you can also look for somebody you can talk to about what you're struggling with. At the end of the day, when you speak out your heart, it also brings some form of healing. So just to encourage you, hang in there, and this too shall pass.
It shall truly pass.
Yeah, thank you for watching. We'll see you on our next episode.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.